Welcome to our booth at DVCON 2021. We certainly hope that the conference is going well for you today and that you find this presentation is of interest. This is a brief presentation about Chipright, giving insight into our consultancy services and the key criteria that we measure when working on new projects, that being skill, price, location and time. So Chipright is a strategic partner for electronic consulting engineers. We specialize in supplying senior level ASIC design and verification engineers that are experts within their field of competence to technology projects in the microelectronics industry. Our brand promise is to supply the right skill at the right price in the right location at the right time. Access to a proven pool of electronic engineers for our customers in a short space of time are the real substantial benefits that Chipright bring to the table for our clients. For those of you who knows, we've been around now for over 16 years, and many of you will have encountered Chipright or Chipright engineers along the way, primarily working in the ASIC verification line of activity. But we haven't just been working in the ASIC verification domain. We've also been working in the layout and the physical design aspect of the development of the microchip. But primarily we have been known for the ASIC verification side of things, but it's not just that. The other resources that we're actually asked for quite a lot go beyond the actual core digital domain, and it lends its way into the analog domain itself. And we do get a lot of requirements for mixed signal verification, analog mixed signal design, and again, notably the layout of the analog devices themselves. And at both when the ASIC and the analog cross, I guess, at times as well, of course, the same core skills, specifically on the digital side of things, replicate into the FPGA world as well. And therefore, from Chipright's perspective, our core offering is really across the digital and analog service domain, specifically with respect to verification, layout, and design. Outside of that, we do cover the other parts of the waterfall model as well, within the scope of developing an IC from start to finish. Our customer base do reach out to us. They do ask us for architects, test engineering, lab eval. So even when the microchips themselves are actually designed, come back from fabrication or prototyping, and they've been brought up and made to come alive, I suppose, within a lab environment, he says we do actually get asked for those resources as well. And therefore, Chipright is a valuable supplier to our customer base with respect to providing engineers across the full life cycle of the microchip development flow. And as I say, we've been doing it now for over 16 years. When we take a look at it, it's really about solving the problem. Obviously, our customers have different requirements as they design different technology, but you know, within our game, if you break down the problem, you really got to break it down to understand the core domains that they have problem sourcing or are undertaking. And at Chipright, we have these mapped out quite well, well understood. And as I said, we've built up a lot of experience in understanding the different domains that need to be solved from a customer's perspective to help them design their microchip. So when we took a look at the problem itself, we took a look at the core domains, but we took a look at the types of engineers that are available within it, understanding that it's not just to recognize the type of engineer and the type of job function that they do, whether it be verification, design, test, or RF or whatnot, but it's to understand their motivation and their experience and their proven experience to be able to work on you know, a leading edge project that's actually quite demanding. And often when consultants are brought into projects, they are quite up against it, and there's a tough schedule to go against. And therefore it's finding the right caliber of engineers at the right time to be able to undertake that piece of work. And at Chipright, we've become a little bit expert on that ourselves over the years, and we've been able to build a proven pool of engineering talent across the European Union to work on multiple projects. And we have that internally inside in the organization, and we promote it externally to our customers on a frequent basis, but we also push it out there to the wider world as well. And I can explain that on our website in a few moments. I'll come to a slide on that. but we do actually profile the engineers themselves on our website. And I guess if there are engineers out there who want to actually get into the contracting game and that as well, yeah, all they got to do is reach out to Chipright and make us aware of what they're looking to do. We'll vet them and basically promote them and bring them forward to our customer base as well. And the mechanism by which we do that is through our what we deem to be the live list of engineers on our website, which we thoroughly vet and we methodically review on a daily basis for the ultimate benefit of our customer's project. Okay, so that is our goal, is to make sure that the customer's project comes to a successful conclusion. Okay, that's what we actually want. So we use the live list to, from our part within the supply chain, to facilitate that. Ultimately, when we make that happen, the engineers themselves take up the roles. We make those roles happen for our customers, and the job isn't completed at that point, actually. So over the years, finding the engineers and actually getting them on the various projects was fantastic and successful. But over time, we learned that it took a lot more than that, and we needed to actually manage the engineers for the benefit of the engineer themselves, and also for the benefit of the customer's project itself. Okay, because sometimes consulting engineers can be, a little bit more distance from the full-time engineers that are working inside the customer's project on. And therefore, a level of care and due diligence needs to be implemented to recognize that. And Chipright itself built a corporate care program for both parties. And I can come to that later in the slides to explain what that is. But ultimately, it became an invaluable management tool to warrant bringing success to our customer's project. So if I veer over towards our website quite quickly, you'll see the layout in the top and the menu in that. But there's two pages of real interest. One is the engineers available, and that's where we promote the engineers that I spoke about a few moments ago. And the second is the consultant jobs. And that's where we promote the jobs for our customers, and those that reach out to us and look to have various problems solved for a resourcing requirement. We're happy to take that on, and we will promote their job through the website in that regard. But effectively, there are other elements up there from a services domain and the technology areas we work on, and you will find those things on the website. But if I take a look at the engineers available, just to give it a little bit more information on it. So if you dive into that, you will, you can click inside there and you can pick maybe the ASIC design or the verification engineers. If you really wanted, you could click on the spec man or the physical design or the layout or the FPGA guys, whoever you're looking for. And ultimately, you will get the profile of the engineer there. Obviously, you won't get their name or their picture or anything like that, or any contact details. It's not like that. Work it as best we can for the customers and the engineers on a professional basis. And basically, you will see some engineers will have their experience promoted, the amount of time that they're willing to go on site, off site, whether they're part of a team, a bigger org, what type of work they're looking for, and also some information with respect to their experience. And it's a very brief snapshot in terms of what that is that we promote on the website. But if you engage with Chipright, we will give you an awful lot more detail, and we'll actually get you talking to the engineers to facilitate filling out those requirements that you may have to unblock the resourcing requirements you have in your supply chain. So you can take a look on our website there. You could click into any of those profiles and you'll get a greater degree of knowledge about them. Like I said previously, Chipright do go the extra mile with respect to managing the engineers and managing our role with respect to the customer's project and what they require from us to make sure that the project is completed right first time. Okay, and Chipright actually developed a customer care program and an engineer team care program as well, right? And it's a well documented flow, something that we've been utilizing now for a couple of years as part of our service offering to our customers. And it's actually seen our relationships grow and develop much better. And it's actually given our customers greater insight into the engineers that are available and the difficulties they have outside of their day-to-day programming language activities to warrant getting the best from those engineers to make sure that the customer's projects are developed. And therefore, we developed an extensive program which is built on 4 pillars effectively. So that being Chipright engineers and our understanding of managing them from a project management perspective, and equally from our customers' perspective, we take a look at it from customer engineering and equally customer procurement, because they're the 4 pillars that are needed to require to come together in order for a project to be successfully run. And equally, we've got something very similar on the engineering side, and I won't go into all the details, but again, we have a program built there for the engineers for their benefit, so that they get the support they require from being consultants in the industry, and they have a network to fall back on for different advice that they require. Sometimes it might be programming ideas or whatnot, but ultimately we do have 2 care programs built for the benefit of the customer's project. And it is our commitment to providing excellence within our part of the game. But it only works when there's a good degree of trust, respect from all sides, that being from the customer, that being from ourselves, not being from the engineers. Okay, so without that level of trust, sometimes things can fall down. And therefore, these programs are built to make sure that that trust maintains true. And again, ultimately for the benefit of the customer's project. So there are some of the things Chipright work on. Why customers choose Chipright? Obviously, we have unrivaled knowledge within the semiconductor market here in the European Union. We have, built up a significant network of microelectronic engineers across the core domains that I profiled a few moments ago on a previous slide. And we've built that knowledge, as we said, over the last 16 years to the point that we can leverage it efficiently for our customer base as required. When I look at the established network of engineers, as we said, we don't just look at them and say, oh, is this a verification engineer or is this a design engineer or whatnot? We look to see it from a technical skill level, and we look at the experience, and we look at the references, their past history, and we try to understand the motivation, their reason for wanting to work on one technology over another. So often we see, engineers might want to migrate from maybe a telecom project to an artificial intelligence or a machine learning project, or back to an automotive project or whatnot. So depending on the type of technology that's been developed in the world, the engineers themselves can be motivated towards one type of technology over another, and vice versa. And there's many different reasons affecting why engineers choose to warrant looking for work within a particular area or a particular domain. And from Chipright's perspective, we map that out and we measure it as best we can, again, for the ultimate benefit that when the engineer gets on the project, that they're on the right project for them, not just for the benefit of the customer, but for the right benefit of the engineer as well. Because when you get a match like that, well, then you get a degree of productivity and a synergy where you'll actually see, the engineers work extremely well inside the customer's organization. And these are things that Chipright, as I say, we measure for the benefit for the customers. We're very focused at finding hard to find engineers. I think we've proven experience in that for the last number of years, and those who know us best in the industry will recognize that. And we work closely with those for ultimately getting the best solution for them. And like I said, we use the customer care programs and the corporate care program for the engineers to ultimately deliver the projects right first time. And that's Chipright.